Hello everyone and welcome back to Stoneblock 4. Today we are looking to expand our Unearther production line. Now as you see I went ahead and framed them up just with some framed blocks using both the Tyrian and the terracotta like we said before. And I think it looks pretty nice. Obviously it's not perfect yet, but I do like the look of this and we'll probably keep something similar when we do our chicken production and our cow production. And I think this will be the room we do that all in. And to do that, we're going to want soul sands, netherrack, endstone, and other rock. However, to process all of those, we need a specific villager. And that means we need a new block. The Resonance Engineer block is a pretty simple craft. It's just some lead sheet metal, advanced electronic components, and an echo shard. However, we don't have access to echo shards yet. However, if we take a look at our quest book, there's a little quest right here for us to do so, and stealing from the wardens is exactly where we want to go. So we have to meet a new echo today, and that is the enchanter. So let's get to it. And down we head.
Do you too seek the power of the deep? It has been many eons since I first wove the theory of enchantments, an art still practiced to this day. And now, it seems you're next in line to walk this path. May your fate be better than the nitwits who fail to control the deep and turn this realm into stone. To claim your world engine upgrade, you must follow my instructions carefully, lest the deep consume you. Begin by delving into the depths of the world where the dark and ancient power lingers. Within its lair, you may uncover echo shards that carry the essence of the deep. Alternatively, you may encounter a certain explorer who has returned with echo shards of his own. Completing the Wayfinder's task should persuade him to trade some, if you, like many others, prefer to avoid the dangers of the deep.
Alright, it seems like we have to travel to the deep slate layers, which we already have done when we went to the Crate Vault. However, it seems we need to find the warden. And if you remember when we went to the Arcane Grove, there was a seemingly very similar structure to the warden below us. So let's head over there. However, before we head over there, I just want to do one thing that I've been meaning to do since episode 1, and that is get cocoa beans. So if we cook some sand, we should then get plenty of cocoa beans, perfect, and also a decent amount of other resources. However, cocoa beans are the big one, because now we can make brown wool. And I believe we needed orange, magenta, purple, and there was one other one we needed, I can't remember. This might have been it, let's see. Oh, questing ram, it's a yellow. We need simply yellow wool, perfect. And last but not least, a piece of yellow wool. And now we can finally complete the questing ram. Like I said, I don't know what this gives you. However, we are sure to complete this finally. He's excited. Okay, we've seemed to pick something up in our backpack. A bundle and a crumble horn. Awesome. So the bundle contains one of every block in the questing ram trophy. Okay, I mean, that's probably pretty good for the early game. And considering you can get all of those dyes early just with some bones and a crook, getting an early diamond block isn't bad, to be honest. Now, I wonder if we can do anything cool with the crumble horn. Doesn't seem like it. It does allow the weathering of copper, which is kind of cool. Other than that, it doesn't seem like it does anything too useful for us, so we're just going to leave that in our system for now. And like I said, we're going to head over to this area because, like it says, it has skulk sensors, so I have to assume the warden will be over here. So we've made our way back to the Arcane Grove. However, this isn't exactly where we want to be. We want to make our way a bit lower, and if I add a waypoint, I should be able to find out what depth. 19. We're currently at Y92, so it's quite the depth we have to travel. So it turns out it is exactly what I expected it to be, and it is indeed the Lost City. So we have to make our way down here, and unfortunately, I'm currently voiding deep slate, so I'm going to grab some so we can have some building blocks here. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's many mobs down here to begin with, which is arguably a good thing. Okay, we did that one in aced. And we got some echo shards. Okay, this is perfect, because I'm pretty sure we can avoid the warden entirely if we can loot echo shards from chests. So hopefully we can do this. I do have to be careful because I am awakening it each time I open a chest. And I didn't get swift sneak, so we have to be careful. But I'm not sure outside of these chests if anything about this place is different. A singular golden apple in this chest. That's funny. Ooh, do you know what? I will take these candles. Candles will be used for cultism later on. If I don't have to make them, that will be a positive. Okay, you know what? I don't think there's anything too unique here that we're going to need. Okay, successful echo shard extraction without having to await the warden. We did get quite a bit of loot. However, we will need to go back and kill a warden eventually, because we will need a warden tendril for late game apotheosis. But for now, we got a decent amount of cool things. The efficiency in mending Enchantments are really nice because we can throw that on our destruction hammer. Other than that, nothing too crazy out of there, but we did get our echo shards that we needed for the quest. Now the echo shards in the quest book are pointing us towards apotheosis, however we do want it for the resonance engineering block, so let's jump into that. Now first thing we need is a bit of immersive engineering, so we need to make ourselves some coke bricks, which we should be able to do with regular bricks. Yes, perfect. We come into our mess of a room here. I should be able to just build a coke oven really fast. Nothing too fancy. And I should, by all means, be able to just speed this up with my temporal pouch, luckily. Maybe? Oh, I can't actually. Interesting. I thought I'd be able to speed that up with my temporal pouch. Nope. So while we wait on that, I guess we could do the other parts of it, and that is the plastic. So we need plastic from immersive engineering, and once again, this is also really simple to do. We just need some basic stuff from Industrial Foregoing, mainly the latex processing unit and a fluid extractor, which we need a light metal plate for. And these two things are pretty standard. So if we provide our latex processing unit with some power and some water, which obviously this isn't the most efficient way to go about doing this, but this should give us a basic amount of plastic for the early game, and then we can figure out a production line later. And what's really nice about the latex processing unit, in this pack at least, it gives you dry rubber directly instead of tiny rubber balls that you need to convert. So that is a nice change. I'm pretty sure that's a recent change, but I can't recall. Nevertheless, we'll take this and we'll smelt it up. And while we were doing that, hopefully we've produced a bucket of creosote. We've produced 3. Perfect. So we can go ahead and make some treated planks as well. And these components just simply require a vacuum tube and aluminum wire. And that is nickel, plate, copper wire, glass, and redstone. So if we smack this guy down, and we can make ourselves a few different components here. And for electronic components later, we should be able to make ourselves this block, which is just some lead we need first. And if we grab some lead plates, we should be able to make ourselves the fun villagers, like so. Is that a quest? It is. It's a task. Now we just need to find ourselves both the netherrack, endstone, and other rock. Now other rock is easy to make. We just throw it inside of Spirit Fire. So by all means, other rock is the easiest one to automate. We grab ourselves some Demon Dream Seeds. And we don't have any flint. That is weird. There we go. Very simple fix. We can grab ourselves some Spirit Fire, and then very simply just throw some stone into it. So if I grab some diorite, throw that in our Spirit Fire, we'll get other rock in return. So while other rock is pretty simple to make, it won't easily be automatable, and we also do not have a diorite farm at the moment. However, for the other resources, we can get away with it by either going to mining it manually or creating it through chickens, or Ars Nouveau, or there's actually a few different methods. However, for now, I want to go get myself some endstone and netherrack, and luckily, an end dungeon is only 1500 blocks in that direction, and in that direction as well, while we were out earlier at the Crate Vault, we found some netherrack as well. So if we just head down the path we've already made, we can both get netherrack and hopefully some endstone just over here. So let's go for another adventure. Hey, now what I will say is very bizarre is we have a nether dungeon located inside of a deep slate area, and I'm not sure this is great for us, I'm gonna be honest. Because if we accidentally summon the warden while making too much noise killing some blazes, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Oh, we're just right into things. Not exactly what I was planning. Alright, let's see what these chests have to offer us. Nothing too special as of yet, but we are getting a bit of soul sand from this, so I can't complain. However, what I did come here for was the netherrack, so I will be sure to collect some, and hopefully not awaken the warden, because that would arguably be really bad. I am noticing these things do start getting a lot more pins as you go on, but we're still acing them, which is fantastic. As I say that, it blew up in my face. Wow, that one was crazy. Ooh, we got some deep slate. And we got some ancient debris from that one, which is great. Alright, so we're back at the base. However, I don't plan on heading back out manually at the moment, as that netherrack village, or dungeon, is very, very far away, and the end dungeon is still 900 blocks further than that. So we would have to mine another 900 blocks from this area, which might not take too long. However, I don't feel like doing it at the moment. We're going to wait until we get some create mining train set up that will automatically take us to wherever we want to go as we place them down. However, that'll be a future episode down the line. Those will be really fun to set up. But for now, we're going to get into some chicken breeding to get our endstone and netherrack. So to begin with, the Netherrack Chicken will be the easiest of the two. It requires us to breed both a stone chicken and red chicken together. Red chickens are pretty simple. We just have to place down a bunch of red chicken eggs, And then a stone chicken is once a gray chicken, so this will be a gray chicken egg and a water chicken. This just requires any 4 chickens, a chicken soul, and some water buckets. So we can make ourselves some water chickens, and hopefully we get lucky. Okay, no luck, and no luck. Okay, we gotta make a bunch more, it seems. Hopefully we get a red chicken, but our luck is very not in our favor at the moment. Okay, we got one. We got a gray chicken. Hopefully 32 eggs will get us 1 chicken. There we go. Fantastic. So if we go to our breeder and throw a water and gray chicken in here with some tier 2 seeds and speed this guy up a bit, we should get ourselves some stone chickens. Perfect. And then if we take the stone chicken plus a red chicken, we should be able to get ourselves netherrack chickens. Now, this is exactly what we want. However, we do want to train these guys. And I believe we did get a trainer for free. We did not. Okay, we got to make one. If we grab ourselves a trainer, I should be able to make these netherrack chickens like actually decent. So if I throw a bunch of seeds at them and speed this up, we now have a decent chicken. However, I do want to just make a bunch more seeds. So if we want to make a tier 2 seed, we need a soul 3 blade glowstone, which we can make in our alloy smelter. So let's grab ourselves some tier 3 chickens or tier 2 soul seeds. And then with that, we will combine it with redstone and a lot of energy, actually. Yeah, we need 3 of them. Perfect. And a block of redstone and our energy cube. And if we head up to the world engine, we should be able to make one of those. A decent amount of energy, to say the least. Perfect. So if I farm myself some tier 3 seeds, this should level up our chicken much faster. However, it's not as fast as it can go just quite yet. And we are already absolutely zooming through these levels. What I find very bizarre is that the level cap, like the XP doesn't increase per level. So it is simply 2,000 per level for tier 2 chickens. So you can easily get to level 128 with just a few stacks of seeds. Now I'm using my temporal pouch to speed this guy up, just so it doesn't take forever to process, but I should be able to just absolutely level this guy up immediately. Now with a level 128 chicken, I'm not exactly sure how much this will produce. It produces a stack. Perfect. So yes, we are getting a stack of netherrack per chicken process. So this is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, we are set. Like, we're absolutely set. I don't think it will do anything different with a tier 2 seed. So we should be fine to just do this as well. Yeah, a tier 2 seed also gives 64. It also seems like level 128 means it gives 128 netherrack. As you see, that number is temporarily 165. Or sorry, 65. So I believe we're only needing to go up to level 64 on our chickens. Even though 128 wasn't bad, it's free chicken seeds. You just shift to grow them, obviously. However, we do have a netherrack chicken who will produce us infinite netherrack now without worry, as long as we have a method to feed them. So that's easy enough. Now for the little more complicated one, and that is the tier 5 endstone chicken. Now the breeding recipe for it, stone and light gray, isn't too bad at all. However, it does require us to have at least a tier 4 seed, chicken seed, to feed it. Now, this guy requires a tier 4 chicken soul, as well as mending neural gel and black quartz. Black quartz we have, the mending neural gel not so much. We need ourselves a molecular metamorpher, which requires a bunch of stuff from the cognition mod. So we gotta go ahead and craft all this stuff. Cognitive flux is pretty easy to make, so we're gonna make a stack of this, and we will start crafting all of this stuff up. So a molecular metamorpher. We also need the staff of attunement from the mod as well. And this is so we can connect our experience obelisk that we bought the other day to this machine. So if I connect these two by shift right clicking and then shift right clicking this guy, all XP in here will now be used in our molecular metamorpher. And this will allow us to make both the calcerine matrix, which will allow us to make many neural gel and fluorescent jellies. So that is just an apple and some sugar, or any fruit for that matter. So I place both of those in there. I should get some fluorescent jelly made up. So there's quite a few things we need here, which is just a lot of microcrafting. We need a bioflage, and this is simply so we can make a bookshelf and infect it. And I'll show you why. So if we infect this bookshelf, we now have one from cognition. And if we go ahead and break this, we should get ourselves some forgotten dust. And with forgotten dust, we can make the calcerine matrix, and we need 4 of these. Now, I did mess up in that sense that I should have made more bookshelves for the biophage to spread to. So we're going to have to make another one, which isn't too bad. It's pretty cheap to make, except that was a mistake. So we'll make a biophage, and I will let it spread. So eventually these two will spread to it. I'm going to make a few more, because it can't hurt to have. Fun fact, apparently the quest does give you some, which is nice. However, we do still have the shelves as intended to do it the proper way. But yeah, these gave us exactly what we need, but as you saw, that is how you get the Forgotten Dust. But if we go ahead and do this, we need a tier 4 chicken soul seed, so I'll get rid of all this stuff. This requires 3 soul tier 3 seeds, as well as a black quartz block. Now, we could make all of these, except that would require a lot of power, and we don't really have that much power in all fairness. I'm going to grab myself a yellow chicken. So where did my yellow chicken just go? There he is. So if I take this guy and place him in with the stone chicken, we should get ourselves a sand chicken. And then with the sand chicken, I believe, yes, with the red chicken, we can make a yellowstone chicken. Or sorry, a glowstone chicken. A redstone, sorry. Perfect. And then this will allow us to get tier 3 seeds. Or tier 3 souls, sorry. It's a lot of just randomness that allows us to get where we need to be. And then if we look up tier 4 chicken, I'm just trying to find the easiest ones to craft. And the easiest one is probably the silicone chicken, which uses the sand chicken we just made, as well as the clay chicken. Clay chicken is just water plus light blue, so it just requires another egg for us. So once again, we will simply make a light blue chicken. Also, our infected bookshelves are constantly giving us experience as they slowly leak, so I don't mind having an experience farm right beside my storage system. Hopefully, we can get ourselves a light blue chicken. Ooh, unlucky. Perfect. So water plus light blue should give us a clay chicken. And then I said clay plus sand gives us silicone, which is tier 4. And that means we just need some tier 3 seeds to breed them. Perfect. And that gives us our silicone chickens. And now, last but not least, we need a tier 5 chicken, I believe. Or do we? No, light gray plus stone gives us end stone, and that's what we need next. So that should be pretty easy to do. Hopefully, we get one. Perfect. If we take some tier 4 chickens, get their souls. Using this, we can make ourselves some tier 4 seeds using the mending neurogel that we just got. Now, to breed the endstone chicken, or to get the endstone from the endstone chicken specifically, we're going to need the tier 5 chicken seeds. And this requires both dimensional shards and fluix pearls. So dimensional shards are pretty easy to make. We just need prismarine shards, which we can get from the atomic reconstructor, so that's not an issue. However, we do need fluix pearls, which means we need to get ourselves some charged sword quartz, which means we need to do some very, very basic applied energistics, but that's not too bad. And now we have endstone chickens, which is fantastic, exactly what we want. However, like I said, we're going to need to do a bit of basic fluix crafting, which is pretty simple to do. We just need to get ourselves charged sword quartz, like I said. And hopefully, this shouldn't be too bad. And luckily, to do this, it is very simple. If we take a look at our quest book here, to get into applied energistics, we simply just need to place a block of amethyst inside the world engine, and it will allow us to get a Certus block. And this barely uses any energy. If we place this down, I'm pretty sure I can speed this up. Maybe? Maybe not. If I just speed this up really fast with my time block, this should produce us a decent amount of Certus quartz. Perfect. And we can go ahead and charge this. Perfect. So we'll just submerge all of that in water, and I should be able to make this into dust pretty easily. I could just make myself a crusher really fast. We'll just make a really fast crusher. And how many fluix pearls do we need? Just the one, right? Yes, perfect. So while that processes, I'm going to grab some quartz to transform at the atomic reconstructor. That gives us the prismarine we need. And I need some tier 5 soul seeds, or tier 5 souls, which I should be able to easily get just by simply throwing these in there. And if we make ourselves a single fluix pearl, we can now make ourselves the tier 5 seeds. And then these guys give us 700 experience per craft, which is fantastic. And then we just have a bunch of tier 5 seeds. Now, what's really nice is all the seeds work backwards, which means we only need one farm once we get to the highest level. And that will allow us to farm every type of seed and also feed every type of chicken. Now, obviously, we will go back and craft the lower tier chickens like the iron chickens and all of those so that we can have infinite resources that way as well. But it depends on which ones we need in priority, and the priority is the endstone and netherrack at the moment, obviously. But if we go ahead and take our endstone chicken in the breeder and feed it some tier 5 seeds, this should go a lot faster, and I'm pretty sure we only need to get this guy to tier 64, or level 64, sorry. So this shouldn't take too long, except it does need 12.5k experience per craft. But I want to test the theory really fast once this is done speeding up. By all means, this should make 21 endstone, if my theory is correct. Oh, it makes 11. Okay, so we do need 128 then. Fair enough. Okay, well, we will continue breeding this guy. What I'll do is I will just feed a hopper into it, and hopefully it should provide us with enough over time. And then last but not least, we do also need a soul sand chicken. I was thinking of doing the haunting, but I think considering how good these chickens are and how fast they produce, I think doing a soul sand chicken would be the play, which means we're going to need a nether quartz chicken, which means we need an iron chicken, which means we need the bone and flint chickens, which means we need the white and feather chickens, as well as the gravel chicken, and that should be all of them. I do have everything but the white chicken so far. It just requires a bit of breeding. Now, I do wish you could dye eggs back to the original color, and that was an immediate white chicken. And then very simply, bone plus flint. Is this what I'm getting? Yeah, perfect. Oh no, gravel. Flint was gravel plus gray. And then the flint plus bone gives me iron, correct? Perfect. And then iron plus nether gives me quartz. Oh no, it's iron plus stone. This is very fun. It is very fun to make chickens, I will say. And then this plus sand will give me the chicken I'm looking for. And there it is. So we have our soul sand chicken. We have our souped up netherrack chicken. And soon we will have our souped up endstone chicken. It's been quite a while, as you see, 113 levels already. It is slowly but surely processing through a bunch of seeds. I just keep filling it up as need be. But yeah, that'll finish up soon. We will soup out this soul sand chicken as well. And yeah, we will have all of the chickens we need simply put inside roosts to start farming over there. Now, before we can actually farm them, we need better brushes. And we can actually start progressing to that. To make the next level brush, we need the smithing template, which we can buy from the Echo Shop at the guidance. So we'll go buy one of those. I'm going to buy 3 of them, just for now. We get the reinforced brush, and then very simply what we do with this guy is combine it with some netherite scrap to get the unbreakable one. It does require a lot of energy to do so, and 1,000 source, which isn't too bad. You can also do with rotational force. Source is a lot easier for us, obviously, but these will allow us to have unbreakable brushes, which is fantastic. Then we won't need to continuously replace them. And luckily, we did get some ancient debris from the Netherrack dungeon, and it says it requires 900,000 FE. And if we grab our upgraded energy cube, which can output at 6,000, this should be enough. It is 8,000 FE per tick, but I'm pretty sure we can get away with it because it is pretty close to the number we need. So hopefully this is able to craft. I want to see if it can keep up. It should be able to. So far it seems good. And there we go. We now have an unbreakable brush. Fantastic. And we only have the one at the moment. Now this is mainly for our netherrack chicken so that we can start getting netherite scrap. So if I go ahead and place down this engineering block, he should turn into a dimensionalist. Perfect. And what are your trades? Oh, you can trade for endstone for this guy. I mean, that is another way I guess you can get endstone. Yeah, interesting. Okay. It is definitely a method. However, if I throw netherrack in here, this should start leveling up and hopefully getting us some goods. Slowly but surely. I will give him some bread. Now, I will say one thing that I definitely want to get eventually for this Unearther setup, and I'm not sure if it's possible, but here's hoping. Hydrotrops are some of the most fantastic food in the game available to us outside of Avarisha meatballs and all those fun things. And you can get these through the loot fabricator. Now, I'm not sure if we have hydras available to us. The Twilight Forest is here, but I'm not sure if the hydra naturally spawns anywhere in the world. So we will have to eventually figure this out. But if it does, we can give ourselves hydra chops with the loot fabricator and then feed our unearthers some amazing, fantastic food. But that's for much later in the pack. We're not at that stage yet. But that is definitely the plan once we get past bread, obviously. But surely this guy will start leveling up pretty fast. I'm going to speed him up a bit. I don't think that actually works. It doesn't seem to work. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't work. Temporal pouch does not speed up the unearthers. Fun fact. But hopefully this guy levels up pretty fast and we can start getting some netherite scrap to make some more unbreakable brushes. Now, to automatically harvest seeds, I couldn't think of anything too creative to do so, so I'm just going to go with the plant gatherer from Industrial Foregoing. This guy's very simple. You just provide us with some power and it will automatically harvest stuff. Obviously, we don't have ether to provide it with to speed it up any further, but it should be pretty fine considering we can buy some add-ons from this guy. So I'm going to buy all 3 add-ons that we need. So this is going to be a little scuffed for right now. However, I'm pretty sure we can get away with something very, very simple here. If we place a heat generator down and surround it by lava, it's not too bad power source-wise. So I'm going to waterlog this energy pipe right here, which we already have a fire-logged energy pipe down there. This heat generator is producing enough to power the heat gatherer. And then we should be able to hoe this. Once again, this is very scuffed, but it does work. I believe. We'll place down some green fertilizer, our tier 5 seed, and if we place all of these in here, this should work. It does harvest 6 per. The energy is keeping up, which is perfect, except we do need a plant placer. I didn't realize. I will say this is definitely the most scuffed setup anyone's ever seen. However, this does work as intended. So I've set up all of the chickens with our drawer here, and this is definitely a very scuffed setup. It's nothing perfect by any means, but considering each chicken is maxed out and makes 64 blocks per craft, this shouldn't be too bad, and these should fill up in no time, and also the unearthers shouldn't use them faster than they're producing. We can always throw more puller upgrades if it's not pulling fast enough, but with this setup, we should be fine for a long time. And yeah, it is a fantastic setup. Each one is producing with tier 5 seeds, and then all of these will eventually go up into the unearthers. However, before that, I do need the Unbreakable Brushes, like I said, and currently we're working through this Netherrack guy to get to the point where we can get Ancient Debris, and then we will fill up all of these with Unearthers, with the dimension lists and such, and then I'll fill up the drawers as well. However, this episode's been pretty long-winded so far. We explored a nether dungeon, we explored the ancient city, and we progressed a bit through some technology back there between Industrial Foregoing, a bit of applied energistics, and a bunch of chicken breeding with our farmer's hat on. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this convoluted episode of sorts. If you did, leave a like on the video. I appreciate it. If you learned something or want to teach me something, leave it in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss any future uploads in this series, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye!